back to Classic Attic Toys, where today we have the Mamod Steam Tractor. This is a tractor that I received when my father was stationed in Germany. We lived in Frankfurt, Germany. And I saw this tractor probably at a toy store over in Germany. It's made in the United Kingdom. This would have been back in 1975. It is, as I've said with other things, rather sturdy. It hasn't been in the attic very long. I took it out some time ago, and it's been more of a conversation piece. I don't get a chance to use it very often, but it is a steam tractor, and it runs off of steam, and it's pretty comprehensive in terms of all of the components associated with the unit. So when you take a look at this, it's meant to either run using liquid alcohol that you would put inside of this little fuel tray, or you could use an alcohol cube. I remember a long time ago we go to the German Apotheke, which I believe is the same thing as a pharmacy or a drugstore that had alcohol cubes, and you can use solid fuel alcohol cubes in here. So if I take this apart, this is the handle that you would use to be able to steer it. So you can steer it back and forth, but once you take the handle off, this exposes the top of the unit, and you unscrew this portion, and it'll allow you to be able to remove the canopy. So it has a single piston, and the single piston is operated by steam. The pressure line is directly here in the center, and then there are two exhaust lines on either side. So the cylinder rotates up and down and engages the pressure line or an exhaust line. So it's a single acting, as opposed to a lot of trains that are steam engine that have double acting pistons. So it only acts by putting pressure on one side of the piston. This is the handle that changes the direction, allows you to go forward or reverse. This is a whistle. It allows you to be able to relieve the pressure at the very end, or maybe allow it to be able to make a whistle sound. This is the pressure release. It's probably set to a certain sort of PSI so that you don't overpressure the chamber. And then, as if you want to, a person can take off the top of the canopy, and you can see where you could add water. So this little valve opens up, or at least this opens up, and you take this off, and then they were nice enough to give you the world's tiniest funnel, and you put this in here, and then you pour the water inside. It fills up. You close this back up. You make sure everything is tight. Either fill this reservoir with alcohol, which is what we're going to be doing because I don't have an alcohol solid fuel cube, liquid alcohol, and then allow it to heat up. So in order to get this working properly and in a short period of time, chances are what I'm going to do is heat up some of the water on the stove and then pour very hot water in it, so it allows for the heat up time to be a little bit less. If I turn it around on this side, you can see that the drive actually consists of it looks like basically it's a belt, but it's almost like a wire belt that allows you to be able to maintain tension, and it's got one heck of a gear reduction ratio, so it doesn't go very fast, but given how heavy it is, it's pretty powerful for its size. So some point in time we will take this outside, and we will fire it up quite literally and see how it runs. So we're now getting ready to be able to start the steam engine. A couple of the things that I do up front is put a little bit of oil on the joints to include the slider. Put the drive belt back on. Water to the chamber. This is a long process, but this is somewhat preheated water. So we're going to light this off, and alcohol has already been put into the chamber. So we'll go ahead and use this. A little bit overkill, but it'll work. And alcohol is a basically a clear flame. You can't see very much of it. It's always a good idea if you're working with something like this to have a fire extinguisher handy. We got a little bit of flame in here. And this goes inside of the chamber. It'll take a little while for it to heat up. We'll monitor it over the course of time, and it'll start steaming. We'll go from there. So it seems like we've got a pretty good head of steam, and we're going to move the flywheel and see if it moves under its own power. And good gosh, yes it does. If we zoom in on this little piston, you can see that it's really moving. You're able to turn this little knob and have it preset for whatever sort of radius of turn that you want. But it's got a pretty good head of steam. And even though it has a really aggressive gear reduction, it's still moving pretty well. But it's fairly heavy. And the piston is doing a lot of work. So matter of fact, the steam is doing a lot of work. So this is the Mamod Steam Tractor from 1975. Classic attic toys. Let's see what else comes out of the attic in the next couple of weeks.